So lately, Steam, the service intended to sell games originally, has lately been adding more and more stuff. Ever since Microsoft came out with their App Store, Marketplace or whatever, after Steam and Valve realized their sales would be threatened, they decided to expand to more stuff, such as games on Linux, which, let's face it, is a joke already and still has no games. You've got you've got software such as RPG Maker and tools for newbies to make games with, including Game Maker and the half-assed video editing programs you find in the bargain bin at your local Target because they're not good enough to compete with Vegas or Premiere. And of course, now you have something called Steam Greenlight. What's Steam Greenlight, you may ask? Well, basically, have you ever seen Xbox Live Indie Marketplace? So what does Valve decide to do? They decide to do something similar to Xbox Live Indie Marketplace, which ended up becoming full of crap and clones. They made something called Steam Greenlight. The second it came out, it got flooded with garbage, spam, and that stuff because, let's face it, nearly anyone could submit a game to Steam. And basically, they decided to put a restriction on people submitting. To submit a game, now you have to have $100 of your parents' credit card. Just like how Xbox Live Indie Marketplace requires you to pay so much a year to develop for the 360, with this you have to pay $100 to put a game on the marketplace. Just like Xbox Live Indie games, though, it did not cut out and clear all the crap, and as you can see, Steam Greenlight is still full of crap. Because literally, that's all it is. One of the main problems if you want your game to actually get greenlit is A, it has to be an existing game, B, it has to be a Half-Life 1 or 2 modification, which you can get for free, but they're going to put for free on there anyway to make it easier for noobs to get to, or C, have it be an indie 8-bit, 16-bit game, which is one of those super cool 8-bit clones, XD. If it's one of those, it'll get greenlit. Just take a look at the fact that a bunch of Minecraft Let's Players had a game based off them get greenlit. In fact, you could pretty much sum this up about Steam in a nutshell. Random indie games always get greenlit, while games that normally have more effort put into them don't. Just take a look at the fact that a game based off Minecraft LPers got greenlit, while many other games either A, get overlooked, B, get overlooked, C, get overlooked. I don't have a link, but somebody linked me to a time where some Steam Greenlight developers actually put a game up on Kickstarter, and Greenlight it was one of those that looked pretty like it had a ton of effort put into it. Guess what? It didn't get Kickstarter, and it didn't get greenlit. But yet, a Yogscast game does. That's all you need to know, basically, about greenlit, because it pretty much sums it up in a nutshell. If it's an indie game, it gets greenlit, while if it's anything with actual effort put into it, it doesn't, and that's the main problem with it. Seriously, just take a look at other games that are on Steam Greenlight. But possibly the biggest evidence Steam is catered to these kind of indie kitties is Freedom Planet. What is Freedom Planet? Well, I think if you haven't seen my review on it, basically it's a bloated Sonic fan game made in Multimedia Fusion 2, based off a fan game engine, which has this amazing thing called Bloat, where it requires 80 megs of RAM just for a game that looks like a Genesis game, and the Genesis didn't even have that much RAM. And remember, the original Xbox didn't even have 80 megabytes of RAM. That's just pathetic. Originally, the character designs looked more Sonic-like, but just like how with 50 Shades of Grey, all they had to do was change the references from Twilight to some millionaire and shit. That's all they did with this game. They made the character designs look slightly less Sonic-like, even though the influence is clearly there. And then they sold it as a game. And then they tried to say, oh, Sonic influenced Bubsy and Jazz Jackrabbit, but those weren't Sonic recolors that came off of DeviantArt. But I think I've said enough about this game. in my last video what needs to be said. So in the end, I'm just going to say this. Steam, the fact that this game got on Steam Greenlight and had a Kickstarter made for it just shows how low gaming's fallen. That the fact that this game can get on Steam Greenlight, a Sonic fan game on Steam Greenlight, and they're going to sell this for money. Do you really want to spend money for a Flash game? And sadly, that's all Steam is. If you make a decent game, it's going to get overlooked. If you make a game with the quality of a Flash game, it's going to get on Greenlight and then get greenlit. I wouldn't be surprised if this game gets greenlit anyway, because it's basically original character do not steal the game. All in all, thanks for watching and subscribe for more. And please, go buy games that are actually good and not just this garbage.